Okay, hello everyone, welcome back. It is Monday. We have Bitcoin on its way down still making new lows. Seems like we're never going to stop. We have just finished filling up the CME gap that a level I had marked at 91,415. We're currently below that. Current price of Bitcoin 91,250. It just doesn't stop. I don't know how much lower we can go. My last level that I have for, any potential relaxation, I don't even know, $88,890. It's not looking good, is it? Really just hoping for a bounce at any point here, but it just seems less and less likely the lower we go. It just doesn't want to stop. So, well, we're going to have to wait and see. I'm really close to getting liquidated here, by the way. 85,000 is all I could really tolerate. Might have to pull out money from somewhere to kind of cover for that. I don't know. We'll have to see here. For now, I'm still going to leave that there, not going to touch it. Just going to let it do its thing. Hopefully this, volatility blows over and we can start heading back higher, even if it's a dead cat bounce. It's kind of what I'm hoping for at this point. Or maybe I'm just in denial and, bear market has already started ever since we broke that critical support level on the weekly chart. None of it is looking any good at all, right? But that's the name of the game. We're here to lose money. So I'm leaving that there for now. Weekly support, I'm getting that out of here. Uptrend is gone. So we are still in a downtrend perpetually for a very long time. Invalidates, it's still on its way down if we're looking at the super trend. Invalidates at 99,000, but like I says, that can keep on dropping potentially to 98,000, which is where we do technically have a resistance from our pivot level here. Well, there you go. There's a bit of analysis already on Bitcoin. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Hoping for a reversal soon. That's all I could really do right now. We've been hitting oversold and oversold levels constantly. Now is not the time to do that kind of strategy that I've been talking about. Now that we broke down below the weekly chart high point, there's pretty much little to no salvation. And of course, as soon as I do 5x, we have this massive crash on Bitcoin. It's just, me versus the market. No big deal. Typical stuff. So, okay, that was a little update on Bitcoin. We will also be talking about more stuff. We have Canada Budget 2025 passing. We have the United States updates, right, on Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to be talking about that big 180 there, by the way. We're also going to be talking about the buys that have been happening, which seem to not, Bitcoin is unbothered by any amount of buying at all, is what it seems. The sell pressure is just so great and the fear is so strong in the markets that it just keeps on crashing. And we also have some news on certain stocks, which we'll be discussing. So stay tuned for that. We have a great stream ahead of us. That being said, Bitcoin is down 3.7%. So not looking good, but seems like altcoins are starting to get a little weaker as well. Bitcoin, Ethereum broke below the 3,000 level. We're at 3,000 as we speak, but lowest point we hit today, 2,955. None of this is looking any good. They just keep on dropping. Which is whatever, let it do its thing. 3,447, but it's still on its way down, is where the resistance on Ethereum is. Immediate resistance would be 3,250, right? So that's still on its way down. Now that we have filled up the CME gap, though, I am hoping that we just reverse. Everybody is talking about the CME gap now, today, specifically. So now that it's gone, right, it's been filled, can we just continue higher, please? Would be great. And then altcoins should eventually follow. Solana also at a dangerous level for me. 128 was our low point today. Current price is 131. Support at 123. Liquidated at 115. None of it is looking good. 5% down today. The only one that seems to be sort of surviving is Hyperliquid. Surprisingly. $38.88. You could argue we're lateralizing at the bottom over here. It's not really making huge moves either. But it's still, holding strong. Not making lower lows ever since November 4. Every other token that we've been looking at has made a lower low than November 4. Not hyperliquid though. So good for hyperliquid. BitTensor, yeah, we have been going lower as well. Approaching $300. We hit a low of 306 just literally hours ago. 317 is the current price. Well, we obviously do have a support at 300. Then 286 and then 250. Sharp decline on BitTensor. I'm not liking it either, but clear resistance 376, 342, levels that we could pay attention to when we start rising, which should hopefully be soon, because I really can't take it anymore. So we won $1.61. We dropped to a low of 157. I think I said it was getting liquidated in the 150s, something like that. So I would have been liquidated here. I added more margin. Let's see where it goes. My liquidation is now 111. I pushed it as low as I could. Arguably, most of the margin went to SUI to try to protect it as much as I can. We'll see if it was a wise move or not. Resistance for it, obviously 171, which was previous historical support, which now we don't really care about. This is our April 7 support, 171, which we are breaking lower than that on SUI, so it's not looking good for that either. 185 resistance, then 190. They're still pretty far from here. We're at 161, like I said. Down 4%, no good. Chainlink is down 3%. 1325, we are making lower lows. Even lower than November 4, right? Seems like only Hyperliquid is the strongest one here. I think Aptos might have caved as well. We're about to review that next. 1305 was our lowest today. We're at 1328. We could drop to 1247. Of course, if we break the $13 psychological support, but we are maintaining this downtrend over here, which invalidates at 15 plus, which seems to be a long while away from here. We need that optimism back. Aptos, it didn't do what I was hoping. So there we go. We broke the uptrend. Tried delaying it as much as I could, but at this point, I can't defend it anymore. It's on its way down. 276, 2% down today overall. We could drop to 258. Resistance, well, downtrend invalidates at 320, which is a very far area, but closest resistance would be $3 on Aptos. Very far. Too far. Okay, what do we got here? Ignoring October 10, I feel like this would be the appropriate downtrend to draw. Looking at the 4-hour chart. Something like this. I feel is most appropriate. Yeah, it lines up perfectly with where the resistance and the downtrend invalidation on the super trend is. So that's the appropriate downtrend for Aptos. We could hypothetically ignore this uptrend now and expect the worst. Not necessarily oversold yet here either, so you can maybe expect that if we do break below 260. Guaranteed at 234, but I don't even know if anybody wants to buy Aptos at 234. Nobody wants to buy when things are cheap, you know? I was watching Charles Hoskinson's stream. This is the founder of Cardano. And he's like, well, you guys are fearful all the time. And, I mean, if you really just buy and wait, it'll eventually go up because, you know, that wasn't specifically his message. I'm paraphrasing super hard. But he was yelling at you, okay? So I'm sparing you the earful that you would have gotten from him. And I'm telling you in a calm, nice way. Just, you know, no matter, obviously the good projects that you believe in, you buy into those. He's mainly talking about Bitcoin and obviously his own project, Cardano. And how, you know, Cardano's had questionable performance. I think we can all agree on that. I do have Cardano here as well, by the way. Oh, we're about to get liquidated too. That's awesome. We broke below the 50 support. That's great. Great. Just perfect. We're at 46. Yeah, I'll let it liquidate. I don't care about this one. Curse you, Charles Hoskinson. We're about to lose money. Yeah, downtrend is still there. We've got like 20,000 downtrends here. Great. That's exactly what I wanted to do. Move the chart into the RSI area. I don't have them all drawn because it would just look like a huge laser pattern that you see, whatever. So, yeah, we dropped to a low of 45. We should hopefully slow down at 43. If not, bye-bye. Not looking good for Cardano. I was mainly talking about Bitcoin, though, my bottom line, and basically stating everybody was calling Bitcoin and it was dead. It was not going to rise anymore. But eventually, you know, as time goes on, it did continue to rise. So stop complaining is basically what he's been saying. And also, this drop isn't even that bad is also what he's been saying. I don't know, man. Looks pretty bad to me. But yeah. What did I want to look at here? RSI levels. I wonder how much of everything is oversold at the current moment. Forget liquidation levels. We're just getting longs liquidated like crazy because people don't know how to control themselves. I'm about to get liquidated in my longs. So Bitcoin oversold, Sui, Cardano, pump fun. If you do have faith in a bounce, you could, not financial advice, maybe consider an entry on those. I would ignore these meme coins, Jelly, and Bonk. Jupiter's a big hard maybe. Avantis. No, I'd stay away from Dexes, honestly, at this point. Barachain, short this, please. Just keep shorting that. I don't know what these ones are. Jato, Aloe, Syrup. I heard of Syrup, but I don't think it's that good. So, hey, my calls for best buy right now. Bitcoin, Sui, Cardano, pump. Maybe Ondo. Maybe say, no, ignore those, forget those. At this point, when everything is crashing, everything just seems like garbage. You don't want to buy into any of it. Like, you know how much of a fan I am of Sui. But after that guy on crypto Twitter trash talked it, now I'm like, oh, what do I even do with this? I just trust Sui the most out of all of them. It's given me great returns. But, you know, what's given gets taken away. So maybe that does happen, but I pushed it as low as I was able to. I'm out of money. We'll see. Our only hope right now is Bitcoin just holding above 90,000, really. I don't know. I say this, but then I'm like, okay, but we could drop to 88,000 and fine, bounce. But no, I promise this time, like, 88,000, if it does go lower, I'm done. I'm out of here, right? In a bad way. Don't worry about me, though. This is what I get for not using a stop loss. Sure, I would have... Now, in retrospect, oh yeah, obviously I would have preferred losing, how much? $2,000, $3,000 rather than... What are we at? 30,000? Yeah. That's fine. It's chump change. Not a big deal. We're fine, dude. We're fine. Not really. I don't know, man. I'm kind of losing hope at this point. Everything is already flipped against me, you know, all my indicators, weekly charts, anything you want to point at. If this is manipulation, I'm going to hand it to you. You guys are doing a really good job. All those market makers, financial institutions. If you're trying to scare out retail or, I don't know, cause a bear trap before our last leg up, you're doing a great job. You got me. You got me. Push it even lower and I'm like completely out. You'll get me even harder. In a really bad way. But come on, how much lower? How much lower? Please. It just doesn't make too much sense to me. But cool. 4% down on Bitcoin. Yeah. And we're still making newer lows as we speak. Asian markets just hate us. Can we have one green day? Hey, did you guys know that I think we're also having death crosses on the stock markets? If I'm not mistaken. Oh, dude, I'm going to have to... I think I could just hide the indicators and it'll allow me to put some. Let's go to US 500 here. Daily chart. Hide the RSI. Add indicators. What can I do, like moving averages? Can I add one more? SMA. It's 50 and 200. Oh, come on. For the Death Cross. Death Cross sounds like a musical artist. What is this? Oh, here it is. No, there's no Death Cross. What are you guys talking about? Unless I'm looking at the wrong thing. We are below the 50 simple moving average. I think that is what a lot of people were talking about. which, I mean, I don't know. We've kind of been bouncing above that, or at least have been trying to. Last time this happened, of course, when tariffs got announced in February, March, April, we suffered really hard and went far below that on the S&P 500. But, you know, ever since then, we've been trying to bounce above it, but now we've, like, actually closed below it. And I don't know if there's any hope for a recovery. Who says we topped out over here? A lot of people do, so I don't know, man. We'll see. We shall see. By the way, I've been so busy today that I didn't even buy the dips on anything. I think I'm honestly out of money. I need to find a job urgently. I've been applying like crazy. They're like, oh, just go apply online. I do apply online. They just never respond. I go in person. I'm like, hey, look, here's my stuff. Here's my resume. Oh, yeah, sure. We got positions open. So, yeah, I might contact you. Okay, sure. I come back the next week. Yeah, so any follow-up? Oh, yeah, no, we filled up the position with somebody else. So, you know, don't worry. I forwarded your stuff over to HR just in case another position opens, and we'll contact you. No, well, clearly nobody wants to employ a young, healthy, white, 23-year-old male that is not gay, because I don't know why they have to ask. It's crazy. You go to the job application sites and like the last portion of question seems like the most important one is like, are you LGBTQ? Are you a person with a disability? Are you a person with Métis, Inuit, Native American, or Indigenous, Aboriginal, whatever it is? Like, who cares? I could be orange, and you should still, you know, given my qualifications, hire me for a job because I'm so qualified and I deserve to work there. But whatever. No, that's just me coping or something. I don't know. Forget it. All right. We're dropping lower, 90,900. I might go insane. Might crash out on this stream for the first time. No, I'll try to keep calm. We'll be fine. Let's go ahead and get into our news, because like I said, we do have some stuff to talk about, so we'll get into it here. First thing is first. I will get it out of the way because no one cares about Canada, but it's important because I'm here. We're not having an election anymore. The Budget 2025 vote was set to happen today. It did happen today. And, well, the Liberals won it because some people didn't vote. And they had their reasons for not voting, which I'll kind of go into detail about here. Conservative Party, just context, right? From what I understand, the Liberal Party in Canada, that is the current, you know, where the Prime Minister's party is, that's the party in power, they don't have a majority government. They need 172 seats in the parliament, right? They don't have that. So they have to pass a vote in order to see if the Budget 2025 bill, which includes a massive deficit for our country, is set to pass. I'm assuming it's, for comparison, like the one big beautiful bill that Trump kind of did, but worse, because we were not getting investment and we were investing elsewhere and we're just wasting money, and it's awesome. I love it. Love it here. But like I said, since the Liberals don't have a majority, you know, a vote has to pass, and if it doesn't pass, the Liberals would have called an election. It would have happened by next month, Christmas. A Christmas election is what we were expecting. And the way things are right now, it's looking really strong for the Liberal Party, despite how poorly they're doing, in my opinion. That's just me being biased. And that if they won that election in Christmas, they would have won a majority government, and they would have just passed the bill, no problem. So we don't want to risk that because, I mean, it could happen for any bill, I guess, that they could propose. Since they're a majority government, they would be able to pass it. But now that they're a minority government, we're kind of taking advantage of that. So we kind of avoided triggering a winter election by kind of letting this bill pass. So it's kind of like we've given up to the Liberals either way, as the Conservative Party would, right? That's the big issue here. Conservative members of Parliament, 2 of them, didn't vote. They abstained from voting, which this is the final results of the vote, 170 to 168. By 2 votes, this bill passed, which is crazy. No winter election. Mark Carney's 2025 budget has passed the House. The NDP party, we have like multiple parties here. This is the NDP, New Democratic Party. They're kind of like liberals, but worse. In order to avoid an election, we had to do what we had to do. I don't know if they're worse, honestly. They're less popular, way less popular, right? So 2 NDPs didn't vote, 2 conservatives didn't vote. Elizabeth May, who is from another party, the Green Party, which is even worse. Like, not worse. I gotta stop using that word, but very, very much less popular, because there's only like 3 people or something like that in that political party. It's basically like, what does it even exist, right? Somehow she decided to vote yes for that. And people are like, obviously outraged, like, why? Why did the conservatives let this bill pass? Obviously, if these guys voted to not pass the bill, it would have been 170 to 170, a tie, and we would have to call an election. Here's the reason why. They can't afford to bring down the liberals, and the liberals would win a majority if another election was to happen in December. Basically what I explained. And the speaker would be a tiebreaker? No. Well, I don't know. I don't know specifically how tiebreakers really work, but I guess they didn't want to risk it. Yeah, it's basically a majority. Anyway, the opposition is too cowardly to topple the government. Can't split apart soon enough. Okay, cool. So that's the big thing that's been going on in Canada. Tonight, the House of Commons has voted to pass Budget 2025. What it will do, and believe every word of this, it's time to work together to deliver on this plan, to protect our communities, empower Canadians with new opportunities, and build Canada strong. I can't find a job, man. All right, moving on from all that nonsense. We have a little update on the Epstein files with Donald Trump. By the way, is set to be, a vote is set to pass this week to get those Epstein files released for real this time. Not like the past, how many times? 3 times, maybe? Where we gave the binders to these influencers and then we're like, oh yeah, we're going to give you guys the Epstein files. Oh, by the way, there's no Epstein files. And here's edited footage of us totally not executing him in his prison cell, and stuff like that. Everything redacted. I think this time they're actually going to release everything. The victims are asking for it. Republicans, the 4 top Republicans we've talked about, Nancy Mace, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, and Boebert, and obviously the Democrats. So now Trump has done kind of like a 180. He released this post on Truth Social saying, as I said on Friday night aboard Air Force One to the fake news media, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files. Wow. Because we have nothing left to hide. We have nothing to hide. And it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party, including our recent victory on the Democrat shutdown. Okay, pause. We talked yesterday about Thomas Massie releasing a poll, and it was overwhelmingly like 95% of people saying, yes, we want to see those Epstein files released. 1%, for whatever reason, didn't want to. And 4% said, no, this is a Democrat hoax, which, by the way, come on. Anyway, but yeah, now suddenly Trump is in favor of getting those Epstein files released. He was attacking Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene mainly for being the main proponents of trying to get the Republicans to vote for the release of these Epstein files, because Trump was originally telling the Republican Party, his own party, do not vote to release these Epstein files. You're falling for a Democrat hoax, and this is all just a big distraction. I already said there's nothing in there, so believe me. And let's move on. They're just coping because they're trying to, distract from the fact that they've lost the shutdown, right? The shutdown ended up being a huge nothing burger. They got nothing out of it. Nothing really happened during the shutdown. It was just a huge delay of everything. And obviously, this is like the 2 parents fighting meme, and then the crypto market staring at them with sadness while we just slowly decay in price. Yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. Anyway, back to the post. Trump says the Department of Justice has already turned over tens of thousands of pages to the public on Epstein. They're looking at various Democrat operatives, so Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers, etc., and their relationship to Epstein. And the House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are legally entitled to. I don't care. All I care about is that Republicans get back on point, which is the economy, affordability, where we are winning big, I beg to differ, our victory on reducing inflation from the highest level in history to practically nothing. We'll see about that. We're getting economic data soon. Bringing down prices for the American people. A lot of people are disagreeing that prices are going down. Delivering historic tax cuts. I'll agree with that. Gaining trillions of dollars of investment into America, a record. I will also agree with that. Rebuilding of military, securing our border, deporting illegal criminal aliens, not enough. Ending men and women's sports, big W. Stopping transgender for everyone, yeah. And so much more. Nobody cared about Jeffrey Epstein when he was alive. And if the Democrats had anything, they would have released it before our landslide election victory. That is facts. Some members of the Republican Party are being used, and we can't let that happen. I'm sure he's referring to Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's so funny. He's given her the nickname Marjorie Trader Brown now. Literally in one of the posts, I don't have it pulled up, but one of the posts he literally referred to her as that. After her, claiming that she's being attacked and doxxed and getting pizzas delivered to her house and getting death threats and things like that. He's still insulting her like that, which is crazy. He says, let's start talking about the Republican Party's record-setting achievements and not fall into the Epstein trap, which is actually a curse on the Democrats, not us. Make America great again. All right. He commented more on it, saying that he confirms that he would sign the Epstein Files Transparency Act into law if it passes Congress. We have nothing to do with Epstein, is what he says. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats, which is also kind of true. A vote on releasing the files is set for this week after Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna successfully gathered 218 signers to force a floor vote. Like I said, Thomas Massie, big proponent in getting these files released. Trump says, I'm all for it. We have nothing to do with Epstein. All his friends were Democrats. All I want is for the people to recognize the great job that I've done on pricing affordability, basically restating what he said on the Truth Social page. We've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. And also, we've seen pictures and videos of Trump with Jeffrey Epstein, but he's claimed that as soon as he found out the weird stuff was going on, he kind of banned him from Mar-a-Lago and cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein. But then other people are like, well, Jeffrey Epstein died under Trump's administration. Maybe Trump silenced him or something. I don't know. That's just what people are saying. Or maybe it's the Democrats that were doing. Maybe it was Hillary Clinton. That's just, people talking stuff on the internet. But anyway, Trump says that I was not with him. No matter what we give, it's never enough. With Kennedy, we gave everything. We're talking about the John F. Kennedy files. Wasn't enough, apparently. With Martin Luther King files, which also got released, we gave everything, wasn't enough. We already given the 50,000 pages. And it's nothing but a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously. What did I just read? For their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein. But they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see. Elon and Trump may or may not be buddies again. He's expected to attend President Trump's dinner with the Saudis' Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud. Wow. Punch Bowl. Wait, what? Punch Bowl? I guess that's the source. The boys are back. We last saw them together at Charlie's memorial, right? Charlie Kirk. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're putting aside their differences now and being buddies again. Or maybe that whole drama that we saw was done on purpose as an excuse for, Elon Musk to leave the government and make the Democrats or the left feel like, to stop attacking the Tesla stock is what it seems to have been. Because as soon as Elon stopped working in the government and focused entirely on Tesla again, Tesla hasn't been that far down. I don't know how Tesla's been doing recently. I'm sure it's been like ranging in the middle. We're ranging at the top. That's fine. February, March. Yeah, this is when Tesla was all the way down here, April 7. I mean, it kind of correlates to the rest of the stock market, really, but I'm sure around this time, April, May, is when Elon left. Or it would have been maybe June. Might have been June. I don't know. I don't remember when specifically the fighting between them happened. But yeah. Once again, it was like, you know, seeing your parents fighting and you're just, you know, sitting in the corner, slowly decaying in price. Because I remember, like, Bitcoin clearly crashed on one of those days. It would have been before the war, so it was this day. It was in June. That's how I know. That's how I remember. Where we crashed nearly 200,000 because, literally because Trump and Elon were fighting. And then the next day we just recovered as if nothing happened. So, yeah, that was funny. Trump company, well, the Trump organization, they're putting a hotel, or opening a hotel rather, in Maldives Island. Our debut property in the Maldives will feature ultra luxury beach, oh my gosh, an overseas villa. I can't talk today. I'm really tired. Can I end stream? Our debut property in the Maldives will feature ultra-luxury beach and overwater villas, setting a new benchmark for privacy, exclusivity, and sophistication. As part of the announcement, we're also launching the world's first tokenized hotel development tied to the project. Wow, Trump tokenizing a project. The power of blockchain, everyone. This is kind of what we want. I don't know if this is specifically what it's going to look like. I doubt it. It says a hotel with beach. So I'm assuming obviously it's going to be bigger. This is AI. What am I talking about? Partnering with DAR Global, they will tokenize the Trump International Hotel Maldives, giving early stage investors exposure before construction. So it's not there yet, obviously. It's in construction. If you want to invest in it, you can do it on the blockchain, which is awesome. Maybe with World Liberty Finance. I thought this was Bitcoin's price right now. I almost got scared. I saw that green candle like, are we back? We're not back. Maybe we're above 91,000 again. That's fine. Okay, World Liberty Finance. No, we're on the way down. Clearly don't care. Macroeconomic factors outweigh this. Is it me or did the color of the candles change? This looks way too green and this red looks like it's dying. Like a soulless red. When I see red, I want to see like bleeding ultra red. Okay, whatever. Come on. WLFI. It refreshed my page, so I don't know. Ew, no, I don't like this. It looks weird. No, the candles definitely changed, right? I'm not crazy. I didn't go colorblind in 2 seconds. Okay, moving on. Who cares about colors? Little update on the guy, Thomas Crooks. The assassination attempt on Trump. We already talked about him a bit before. We have some new updates on him. He used they-them pronouns, confirmed gay, and had a deep interest in furries and was exploring gender identity. Oh boy, oh brother. It's just another one added to the list of trans violence when it comes to mass shootings or, you know, political murders, as we saw with Charlie Kirk's assassin, right? Tyler Robinson, he also had a furry obsession and lived with a transgender boyfriend. The Annunciation Catholic Church shooter, also identified as trans, a recent, not recent, but a couple months ago, shooting that happened. The Nashville Christian school shooter, I remember that one as well, in Nashville, Tennessee, also trans. These are lesser known cases. Lakewood Church shooter identified as trans. Why are you targeting churches and our politicians? Some are school shooters, I think. What is Colorado Springs? I don't know what that is. But yeah, also non-binary. Denver shooter identified as trans. Aberdeen shooter identified as trans. Iowa high school shooter, trans activist. Radical gender ideology is pushing unstable individuals toward violence and targeting innocent people. Trans violence is an epidemic and the threat is escalating. I don't know. Call it what you want. I'm just not in favor. Trump announces that the $2,000 tariff stimulus checks will be distributed by the middle of 2026. It just keeps getting delayed. It gets better every time. First, it felt like it was about to come out by the end of this year. I don't know, by December. And that's kind of what gave markets a bit of hope, although we realized, yeah, this is not going to be too much money either way. Although it's nice, you know. They try to price it in, but ultimately, look where we are right now. We're much lower. And then it seems like it was coming out in the beginning of 2026, and now it's looking like it's going toward the middle of 2026. Clearly pushing it as far down the road as we can. I'm assuming because we're either not collecting that much from tariffs and we actually have to if we want to push this out, or Trump is never intending to give Americans anything, or we're saving it for something memorable before the midterm elections, which should also happen in 2026. That could also be the case. The rest will be used to substantially pay down national debt. The amount is not substantial either. The amount of tariffs, the amount of money we're collecting from the tariffs, it's a good amount, but it's not going to like pay off the whole national debt. It'll take a couple billion off, but we're talking about 30, almost $40 trillion here. So how much can it really do? But it's a good step in the right direction nonetheless. White House will tax Americans' foreign crypto accounts. A proposed IRS rule and CARF membership would let the US government track Americans' crypto abroad for taxation. So there's no, look, I moved to a different country and no KYC or no capital gains tax here. No, US government will find your crypto and will tax you on it. So cool. That's not what we want to hear. But I guess it's something that they have to do. Depending on everyone's specific scenario. The odds have flipped, of course, as we saw a couple of days for a Fed rate cut in December. The odds of no rate cut have risen, which has been crashing markets, strengthening the US dollar. It should strengthen the US dollar. I think we're still seeing a divergence there. I haven't checked on it recently, but the DXY. And we're kind of on the rise again. So yeah, that explains, in part, the drop with Bitcoin. You see the correlation, right? This means that the odds of no change in Fed policy are now above the odds of a 25 basis point rate cut for the first time. Markets are worried about inflation. Sure. But we did have another one of our boys here, Fed Waller, saying that a December rate cut would provide extra labor market insurance, because I feel like that's maybe what we should be focusing on more. The labor market. We've been worrying about inflation for the whole year, and we use it as a big excuse. We use tariffs as the excuse of rising inflation, and we're not going to cut rates. Until obviously it's gotten to the point where we had a government shutdown and we had to cut rates. Although the one before that wasn't specific to the government shutdown, because obviously it didn't happen by then. It happened in September, the first rate cut. That one was well deserved. Second one, we kind of went in it blind. This last one is going to be crucial because we're about to get so much economic data. And I think that's what's really causing uncertainty in the markets. Markets hate that. So part of the reason why we're crashing here. Fed Governor Waller also supports a quarter-point rate cut at the December 9-10 meeting. He warns the labor market is near stall speed and restrictive policy is weighing on the economy. Thank you. Waller's dovish stance: underlying inflation is close to 2% target, inflation expectations are well anchored, and tariffs represent one-time price shocks rather than sustained inflation pressure. This guy gets it. Give him a raise. The key economic warnings: U.S. labor market is weak, approaching stall speed. GDP growth has slowed. All of these are good for us seeing a rate cut, by the way. Consumer sentiment is dour. Firms report slackening demand. Is dour a real word or sour? D and S is right next to each other on the keyboard. I bet it's probably a real word and I don't know about it. Relentless, stern, gloomy. No, it's a real word. There you go. I don't know English. Housing and car affordability weighing on spending growth. Waller says December rate cut will provide additional insurance on the labor market and is unlikely to change his view regardless of upcoming jobs data. Huge. That's good. That's what we want to hear. We basically have one vote in favor, or we have two now, confirmed votes in favor of a December rate cut. One from our boy Moran, and now from our boy Waller. On the tariffs, Waller sees no factors that would cause inflation, acceleration from trade policy, treating them as one-time price level adjustments. Yeah, we kind of went over that. So yeah, that's huge. That's kind of the stuff that we hope to see from the rest of the Fed governors, although I don't think it will be. A lot of them are pretty restrictive. I think we did in September, we got the projections, and we were all expecting 3 rate cuts for the end of this year, to the point where markets were pricing that in. You know, in October, we had our good old rally until October 10 happened. We started putting tariffs on China. I feel like that October 10 tariffs on China, I'm going to say it, I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but we didn't deserve to crash that much. Something weird happened, and we don't know. Too big of a liquidation event. Maybe it just got us all by surprise. Maybe, you know, the fact that it happened after markets were closed, we're the ones that got severely punished. And since then, it feels like we have never financially recovered from it. We kind of had a little brief recovery rally, but I mean, we've been that high, like literally hours after the drop. Twice, right? Days after the drop, hours after the drop. We've been at the same level, 116,000 for Bitcoin. And then since then, it's just been down and down. We haven't been able to recover from there. So we're going to need something. Despite the fact that Michael Saylor, he's been teasing this all week. He's going to buy so much Bitcoin. He's going to buy... Doesn't care. We're still crashing. Do we care that Michael Saylor bought? Clearly not. Do we care that government talks good about Bitcoin? No, not anymore. Not like the good old days. That being said, I'll give you the numbers. MicroStrategy has acquired 8,178 Bitcoins for $835.6 million. That's almost $1 billion. Which, I don't know, I was hoping to see billions, so I put this on myself. I set my expectations too high and I'm a bit underwhelmed, but in retrospect, you know what? Fine. 835 million, sure, good job. At an average price of 102,000, brother, what are you doing? 102,000? We're at 91,000 right now. Whatever. He now owns a total of 649,870, almost 650,000 Bitcoins. Pretty good. At least they got that going for him. All right. Well, good for MicroStrategy, I guess. You know who else has been buying? Nayib Bukele from El Salvador just posted suddenly. This is, you know, this slow gradual rise you see here. He normally DCAs and buys 1 Bitcoin every day. 1 Bitcoin a day keeps the doctor away. And it's been going good. It wasn't too much Bitcoins that he has. He had about 6,000 Bitcoins. And now suddenly he has almost 8,000. So huge buys from Nayib Bukele as well. How many Bitcoins did Saylor buy again? 8,000? Yeah, 8,000. Nayib Bukele bought about 1 and something thousand. Why is Kronos trending? Why is Solana trending? What is going on here? It's one more last dip. No, no more dips. I cannot afford another dip. Yeah, Kronos falling off. Solana, what are we doing here? I know, right? Solana at 100 again. I'll probably die if that happens. So, yeah, no. Not me personally, I'm saying my position. My position in Solana will die because I liquidate at 1... What do I liquidate at? 115? Where's my Solana? 115, yeah. Yeah, no, the colors definitely changed. What happened? Whatever. I'll fix it later. This is what the colors are supposed to look like on my chart. Bitmine has also been buying from, you know, Tom Lee's company. Only Ethereum, of course. And they've acquired 54,156 Ethereums over the past week. If each Ethereum is 54.6 times $3,000 each, it's $162 million. That's a good amount, but not a lot. Nothing too crazy. But still, in 1 week, good for you. All right. This is... I don't know if this is a top signal or our last glimmer of hope. What to make of this, so I'll leave it up to your interpretation. Highest IQ man in the world. Young Chum Kim, or whatever his name is. Wait, is this real? Is he actually AI? I don't think he's AI. No, he's a real guy. Come on. Remember I talked about him. He said that he was expecting Bitcoin to hit $150,000 by the end of this year, to the point where he's so convinced that Bitcoin will rise, he sold all his assets. This is the highest IQ man in the world, by the way. I'm going to reiterate that. Guinness World Record holder. And he sold all his assets, bought Bitcoin. He said, I'm going all in. That happened a couple months ago. He's back now, and he's doubling down on it. In the next 45 days, so by the end of this year, because we only have 45 days left or less, Bitcoin will hit $220,000. What do you guys think? Are you smarter than a 200 IQ man? I don't know how much his IQ was. Let me look it up. I know his name is Young and Kim. Young Hoon Kim. There we go. 276. Okay. What's the average IQ? Like 100 something in America? What are we at? 98. Oh, we're all stupid. That's crazy. He has 276 IQ. All right. And he thinks Bitcoin will hit 200K plus by the end of this year. Maybe that's the hopium we need. The truth of the matter is, money printer is also coming. It's this huge issue where bulls have a strong case and so do bears. And I don't know which one to pay attention to. And man, they're doing a great job at causing uncertainty in the markets right now. The point where, you know, fear levels are... What are we at right now? Give me the number. 17? 15? Still technically extreme fear. Levels we haven't seen since April, March of this year, when every country was getting tariffed, by the way. Now that we'd have no countries being tariffed, we're still down here. So what gives? End of the cycle is what a lot of people think. Recession, which I could agree with, maybe. A lot of stuff. But the bull case, US is preparing the 2000 stimulus checks. Okay, we know that's coming middle of next year, so we're not going to see that for a while. And one could also argue that that is already priced into the markets, and it's already far below that since it got priced in. Japan preparing a $110 billion stimulus package. Preparing. China has approved a $1.4 trillion stimulus package. They've approved it. The Fed ending quantitative tightening on December 1st, which means we should start getting rate cuts, right? Hopefully. And rate cuts will turn the money printer on even harder than it already is. The US is issuing $1.9 trillion in treasures per year. Canada is restarting its quantitative easing program. What do you mean? We've been cutting rates for a very long time. I know that doesn't specifically correlate, but whatever. Global M2 money supply is at a record $137 trillion. Have you guys seen that correlation? I'm sure somebody's posted the chart over here. We are not. This is what it looked like in June, okay? The fact that Bitcoin's price correlated so perfectly with the global M2 money supply, and I've talked about it a lot, but now this is where we're at. We've decoupled significantly from it. So what happened? Where is all the liquidity? Where is all the money? It exists, but it's just not going into Bitcoin. That's what we know for sure. I left the post. Let me go back. Global rate cuts are at 320 plus over the last 24 months. And what of the world is another wave of inflation not on its way? I'll agree. The inflation is on its way, and Bitcoin should benefit from it, right? Because that's what it's built for. Hedge against inflation. This year so far, we're at down 1%. If you switch to a yearly chart, can I do that? 12 months. Let's go. Oh, this is a terrible chart to look at, but yeah, we're down 1-2% on the yearly chart. That's crazy. Now give me a real Bitcoin chart. Go to Coinbase. Is this real? Yeah, it's real. Oh, I have this drawn over here because 4-year cycles, elections. Let me get it out of the way. We don't care about the 4-year cycles or elections anymore. Actually, no, we do kind of need this. Okay, I'm going to do something. First of all, yes, look at the 12-month chart, the yearly chart. We're down 2% this year. Crazy, right? Okay, back to this. Go to a weekly chart. If a bear market was to happen, hard if, how low can we go? I don't think we're dropping below 70,000. And I've done this kind of analysis many streams ago to the point where this is still saved on this chart, which is crazy. November 4 elections happened. Historically speaking, after Bitcoin does its rally and commences a bear market, we don't drop as low as ever since elections happened in the United States. We don't go lower than that, right? As soon as elections happened, it was 66,000, the price of Bitcoin. And then Trump wins, and then we skyrocket it to 100K plus, right? Meaning that if a bear market was to initiate, we shouldn't see anything below 70 is what I'm going to say, but realistically 66,000 because we've kind of broken above that. That's why I think the cycle is different. The fact that we've broken above, our previous all-time high over here. What is this for? Oh, this is pointing at this. This is when November 2020 election, Joe Biden, Donald Trump election, right? Bitcoin's price, 13,000. We skyrocket, we have our 4-year cycle, great. How low do we drop? Not below the 13,000. We drop to 15,460. Okay? That's twice now that this has happened. The third time, I'm going to zoom in and leave it even harder over here. 2016, November. Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Bitcoin's price, 685. Cool. 4-year cycle takes its place. We rise. How low did we drop? 3,000? We did not drop to the 600 level ever again. So surely that just plays out once again, right? In our current scenario, I'll reiterate it. November 2024, Trump, Kamala Harris, Bitcoin's price, 66K. Trump wins. We do our 4-year cycle. Arguably, we're at the end. Sure, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. How low can we go? Definitely not below 70K. For a bear market, if there even is one. What if we do just drop? Okay. But what if this is a super cycle and 2026 we indeed start rising again? People think though that 2016 will be a bearish year in general. Can I get rid of this 12 months? Oh, you can't. So make of that what you will. Just give us a dead cat bounce, please. Give us 100K again. How big is that? How far do we have to go for this? 11%. It can take like a week of full green to get back up there. But anyway, this year so far we're down 1%. That's also one other thing that makes me think like, nah, surely not. We're not at the end of the cycle. Come on. 2012, 2013, 2 green years, right? 2012 would have been Bitcoin halving. Am I right? No, I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong. Okay. No, I'm right. 2012. What? When did Bitcoin halvings happen? Pretty sure it happened in 2012, right? History. Come on. Okay, the first one in November 2012. Yeah, I was right. That was confusing me because I'm like, well, Bitcoin started in 2010 and then 4 years later. That's not 12, but anyway. Okay. Sure, whatever. 4-year cycle, bull run. 2012, 2013, super green years. Okay? We have our red year. Forget 2015. 2016, green. 2017, green. 2018 is red. Bear market. 2019 is whatever. 2020, green. 2021, green. 2022 is a bear market, whatever. And it was 2023 is the whatever year. But it's different. You see, the surge is even higher than what our return was in 2024. That's why it's different. I don't understand. Something's changing. Whatever. What should happen is 2023, whatever. 2024, green. 2025 should be green. How green? I don't know. Because the year after the halving, so 2017 is 1000%. 2013 was 5,000. Okay, let me show it to you this way. 2013, 5,000%. In 2017, 1,000%. In 2021, 60%. What's 2025 going to be? Much less, obviously. But what do we need for, I don't know, even if it's a 30% rise? Oh, that would just take us to where our all-time high is. Barely. Because we're talking about ending the year, right? At what percentage? Can we go back up like a 60% rise? That would take us to 150k almost. And maybe everybody's predictions would have been right. It's looking really, real bleak. So, I don't know. Something's different, man. Anyways, at least we filled to the 7-month-old CME gap, am I right? The guy that spreads FUD, he's back. He's talking about XRP now. Raising $800 million. Shipping nothing but lies. Literally zero utility. Yeah, come on. You lost to Solana when it comes to Western Union. You lost to Libra when it comes to Swift global payments. What are you doing, XRP? Anyways, fully pre-mined, completely centralized. XRP Army has been sleepwalking for years with the ISO 222 compliance fairy tale. Yeah. In reality, banks don't care about XRP. Every month, 1 billion XRP unlocks. A portion of it is relocked for optics, and the rest gets dumped on mathematically challenged retail who still believe it will somehow reach $589. Yeah, I will truthfully agree with this analysis of XRP. Almost all of the top 10 validators belong to Ripple or the team's relatives. That's not, well, I don't know. Depending on the company or the project. Half of the supply is sitting there, waiting to be dumped on boomer retail who are eager to buy at any price. These delusional XRP holders are also proud members of the Flat Earth groups on Facebook. I don't know if that's factual. Fully diluted value, 219 billion. Circulating market cap is 131 billion. The actual fair value is 0. Crazy. Story, trash, 0. Say, also trash coin apparently, 0. Raised $100 million. $608 revenue. You mean, are you missing a couple billion or a million here? What's going on? It's sitting at a 1.6 billion fully diluted value just because Sui had a scam run to 17 billion. And the name sounds similar. Sui and Say, yeah. I don't even think bots use this chain. No reason for it to exist? 0. I'll agree. I'm sad with the Sui one, but he's kind of right. Infinite sell pressure. The fact that a lot of it is still locked. I don't know. I'll still have faith in Sui. If, for the record, you don't know what this is, he's been talking bad about, Polkadot, Avalanche, no good. Aptos, no good, which also hurts. And yeah, that's the beginning. Interesting. But I guess that's the proper way of doing research. Maybe not with so much of a negative mindset, but you're doing research nonetheless, and you're sharing your analysis with all of us, giving us the hard truth, even if it hurts. Anyways, Robinhood, they're doing the thing. Short selling is now rolling out on mobile web classic and Robinhood Legend. You can now short sell stocks. Wow, in 2025, we're finally getting the ability to short stocks. But I'm assuming this is more like on spot markets, because you could either do contracts or you could do, by contracts I mean options, and then the other contracts, the contracts for difference, where you can short stocks and everything. But that comes with leverage and stuff like that. But this I'm assuming is like spot, right? Right? I don't know. I don't use Robinhood. If anyone does confirm that, I'd be thankful. Okay. This sucks, but it's true. McDonald's sees record surge in job applicants. I may or may not be one of them. No, I'm not. I'm actually not this time. But I'm really considering it, and it hurts. Side story for me. Yeah, I did work at McDonald's at some point in my life. Dude, there's so much to talk about. You know what? First, I'll just go through the news with McDonald's, and then I'll talk about my story. They did the meme. They posted a huge billboard I'm sure this image is old, but hey, crypto bros, we're hiring. Careers.mcdonalds.com. Yeah. Don't we have a McDonald's pattern on Bitcoin? Or I think it was Ethereum. Ethereum has the McDonald's pattern. No? Which one had it? I forget. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Record surge in job applicants as crypto market continues to free fall. So, yeah. I might have to do it, man. We're still on our way down. No signs of stopping. New lows, 90,200. Oh, whatever. Might have to go. It's not just that, okay? I know that's all memes and everything, sure, haha. It's funny we're losing money and we're gonna have to go work at McDonald's because we're that desperate for money to eventually reinvest because we think we're diamond hands. But anyway, no, Trump spoke at a McDonald's summit today where we talked about the economy. He talked about him working at McDonald's. Kamala Harris not working at McDonald's. I watched a bit of the speech. It's pretty funny. Talking about, you know, the founders of the company, how good they are and all that kind of stuff. So, and the economy, like I said, saying it's going really well. So yeah, Biden administration started the affordability crisis, but President Trump will end it so all Americans can achieve economic prosperity. Cool. Ford. Okay, you know what? Before I talk about that, back to McDonald's. I don't have too much stuff from the speeches. It was all just glaze, really. It's nothing too important. Didn't announce anything specific. No partnerships, nothing like that. Just a lot of good stuff. And, you know, thank you, McDonald's, for being McDonald's and employing. I think he said 1 in 8 Americans have worked at McDonald's at least at some point in their lives. So it's a huge part in everyone's lives. And he also gave RFK Jr. a Big Mac and he loved it. But he doesn't want anybody to know that he loved it. But he loved it is what he said. Cool, funny. So for me, yeah, I did work at McDonald's at one point when I first moved here and I was looking for work. I was new in the area. I was like, yeah, McDonald's, sure, I'll work at McDonald's, not a problem. It was around this time too, like November, December in 2019. And at one point, well, I was also working at Tim Hortons, which is, I don't know, a cafe for the American listeners. There was that, and then it was... I had to work at both places and I would have conflicting schedules, which was an issue for me, but I wanted to keep both jobs for whatever reason. I don't know. I was 17, 18 and I was thinking I could do everything. I'm young. I just graduated high school. I got this, right? Until, okay, at one point this was my birthday night, December 15. They made me work an overnight shift at McDonald's. Like on December 15 morning, so to speak, right? All throughout that night, the night of December 14, early morning, December 15, on my birthday. And then, you know, I came back home, I fell asleep, woke up at like 6 p.m., had my birthday cake, and went back to sleep again. So I was like, that was miserable. I don't want to do that again. So I was like, you know what? Screw McDonald's, gonna find another job. And then I did find another job, but that was far in the future. Not far. But then it was like also, I was like, okay, fine. It's just, I'll just pick one of the two, right? Because I clearly can't do both. I was having scheduling conflicts, right? I even had to leave my shift early at Tim Hortons to, you know, start my shift at McDonald's. And I told my manager that. Probably shouldn't have told her that, but she's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess you can leave early to do your other shift at McDonald's. And then they just stopped giving me shifts. Like, my schedule was just empty at Tim Hortons. I would walk in. They didn't tell me, like, you're fired or nothing like that. They just... my name didn't show up on the calendar there. So I was like, okay, guess I'm not working here anymore. It didn't give me a formal, not resignation letter, but a firing, you're fired. Never gave me a verbal warning. None of that. They just, you know, we'll find another baker. You're good. So I was like, fine, I'll just main McDonald's. And then I had that overnight shift at McDonald's. I'm like, no, screw this. And then I found my collector job. So I was there for a couple of years. Yeah, there. Anyways, that's my story about McDonald's, if you care. Ford has reached a deal with Amazon to sell certified used cars directly on Amazon's website. Are we rising on Amazon yet? Or Ford? Should be good for both, right? Why specifically Ford? Why not just allow every used car to... What is this? Why not allow every used car to be sold on Amazon? That would be cool. Can I have my RSI back? Why did I draw this? That's such a weird place to draw this. Why did I draw this here? Anyway. Maybe I'm... This is a prophecy, maybe. Who cares? So, yeah, that would be cool. Now you can buy cars on Amazon. And then you get them drone delivered or something. I don't know how that's specifically going to work. But Amazon, well, as we saw, the price is not rising for whatever reason. There's also them raising $12 billion to bankroll AI infrastructure, the first bond sale in 3 years. So they're also, you know, getting more debt to invest into AI, basically. Before it gets too expensive, is what they're going for. I'm assuming this is not what stock market people, investors, would have liked to see, because they're taking on a risk, so to speak. Now that this whole narrative that, oh, AI bubble and everything's going to crash because nobody's going to use AI. We're going to use AI and your wife is going to get replaced by AI. So I don't know what these people are talking about. So yeah, anyway, here are the numbers if you care. I'm not going to read all that. We're running out of time. Moving on to my last post. Since Nvidia's market cap hit $5 trillion on October 29, okay, I'll give you the credit where credit is due. Yes, things have been dropping ever since with this whole AI sector. After Nvidia hit a $5 trillion market cap, we have dropped 9%. Oracle has dropped 20%, Meta 20%, and I'm feeling the pain on Meta. I'm heavily invested in there. Palantir also 13%, Tesla 11% down, Broadcom 11% down, AMD 9% down, Taiwan Semiconductors 7% down, Microsoft 6% down, ASML, I think they make chips, not the potato chips, but the computer chips, 4.8% down, and then main indices, NASDAQ, S&P, Dow Jones, 5, 3, 2% down respectively. We also had Michael Burry betting against Nvidia and Palantir, the put options that he made. Also, the fact that he's closing down his whole agency after doing this legendary trade once again, the great short, the big short, whatever it was called. SoftBank offloads $5.8 billion in Nvidia shares, which we also covered. And we also covered Peter Thiel exiting his Nvidia position. I'm sure this big man had a lot of money in there. So none of it is looking good. What do these people know? Is there actually going to be an AI bubble pop? That's what a lot of people are also nervous about. I haven't really checked Nvidia's price. Like I said, I have not looked at stocks at all today because I was just so busy. I had a dentist appointment this morning. Dude, we're fine. Do we still have a 5 trillion market cap at least? 4.5 trillion. So we lost $500 billion. That's fine, dude. Guys, gold hit $32 trillion. Where did that money go? Where is the... This is basically 28 trillion. 29, 30, 31, 32. $4 trillion. Where did it go? Like, you could easily triple the price of Bitcoin with that kind of money. Also, Bitcoin lost about $1 trillion here. Money is leaving the markets. We'd rather hold the US dollar is my hypothesis here, because of the fact that we might not even see a rate cut in December. That's why dollar index is on the rise. But that's not good. We want people to invest the money. That's why inflation must be a thing. Otherwise, if there is no inflation, there's no fear that the fiat money that you're holding is decaying as time goes on. You don't have to worry about investing, saving, growing that money, because it's always going to be valued at the same thing. That's why we do need the inflation. Just cut the rates, let the inflation happen, devalue the fiat money so that we can get the investments going on, and so that the best hedge against inflation can start doing its thing, because we're painfully low. 90,117 just never ends. I'm going to change colors because this is really bothering me. I don't know what this is, OCD, whatever you want to call it. This is the red I want to see. Perfect. Now we're talking. That's it. Okay. Bottom line, well, we have stabilized the super trend at 100,000, basically 99,773, but it's on its way down still, very slightly. And that should point towards 98,000 for your resistance. So my point stands there on Bitcoin. Looks like we're about to lose 90,000 and it'll take us to 88,890. You can basically round that to 89,000. Give or take one more thousand to drop. Let this be the last drop, please. Like, actually. Come on. You're scaring me. Dude, I'm losing so much. Where's the dead cat bounce? We're not even going to get that, is what it seems. We're just going to have a slow, gradual decline. And it's annoying. Yeah, like, come on. Like, what do you even do here? No rest for the wicked. We are oversold on the daily chart, though. That's interesting. Record fear levels since April, March. You tell me, man. There's a lot of money that's just sitting out there that is just not coming into the markets. That would be a good time to put that money into the markets. Just saying, everything's at a quite the discount, I would say. Alright, but yeah, just gonna have to wait and see, I guess. Not much I could really do. What am I gonna do? Sell here? Sell the perfect bottom so that things can start rising? I might just do that, honestly. Sell all my alt positions to save Bitcoin. Should I do that? Where are we at with the dominance? Why is Hyperliquid rising? Whatever, man. Oh, we are dropping. Which is a good thing. That is a good thing, yeah, okay. I had to think about that for a minute. Like, yeah, Bitcoin dominance is crashing. That means people would rather hold alts, which is good. Yeah, I kind of wish I still had my Hyperliquid position. I didn't sell at a break-even price, but that's fine. I'd still lose a ton, though. A lot of these are about to get liquidated, too. Well, Compound is fine. Ethereum is halfway. Cardano is, like, super close, but who cares about Cardano? I really don't care about it anymore. Stellar, it's halfway. BitTensor is really safe. I'm happy. Sui, thanks to my slow thinking, I've delayed the inevitable. So we're still about halfway before I get liquidated. Chainlink, about halfway. Little more than halfway. And Solana about, yeah, 3/4 of getting liquidated. Solana is probably one of the next dangerous ones because it got a lot in here. But 115, I don't think we're going to see that. You're seeing the sentiment on crypto Twitter, right? People talking about Solana hitting 100. Way too bearish. You guys are way too bearish. Something's got to happen. Some form of a bounce. Are you calling this a bounce? I don't call it a bounce. But altcoins are not dropping as much as Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin is on its way down. No mercy, just dropping. We filled a CME gap. Just let us rise. Come on. Do we have a CME gap open at the top side? Probably not. The fact that we've been so stable the whole weekend, I don't think we saw any CME gaps today. Does this count as a CME gap? Well, let me delete this first because that's already filled. Zoom in here. Friday and then Monday. We technically do have a... No, it's already been filled. It's already been filled. I'm stupid. I forgot the wicks do count. Yeah, no, it's been filled. Alright, forget it then. No CME gaps. None. So... we're all up in the hands of the Bitcoin gods. Imagine if Satoshi just sells everything right now. Yeah, that would be brutal. 5% down. This is too much on Bitcoin. Way too much. Way too oversold. That's the good news, is that we are oversold and we should expect a bounce. Hopefully. I'm tired of looking at this red. I'm gonna go... What do I even do? I'm applying for jobs. Nobody's responding. I'm getting rejection letters. I'm only getting acceptance from insurance sales companies that are probably scams and a waste of my time and money, and I'm not a good marketer or seller, so I don't know. Maybe I'll go work in construction. Just do the manly thing here. Wear the pants and go out in the snow. And build a house or something. Yeah, we'll see. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry about me, though. Like, actually, I'm perfectly fine. It's fine. This is money I was willing to risk to... I was willing to lose, right? It's not part of the game. It's fine. There will be more opportunities. You shouldn't ever give up. That is the wise words for tonight. So, yeah, keep your head up. We'll be fine. Hopefully. Alright, I'm gonna go find something to do. Thanks for watching, guys. I will still see you tomorrow. Tomorrow... What are we doing tomorrow? We're doing absolutely nothing. We'll see what FedBar says, if anything important at all. Waller, where is Waller? Here. Huge W, by the way. I don't know what these other feds talked about. Williams, Jefferson, Kashkari, Logan. But Waller and Moran are on our side. For rate cuts for this month. That's one thing I didn't even look at, the actual probabilities of the rate cuts. I'm assuming it's still 55 to 44. It's even worse now. 57% chance, no rate cut. 42% chance, yes rate cut. It's not looking good. But anyway, we'll cover all that tomorrow. So yeah, thanks guys so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow. I said that like 5 times, but yeah, like actually though, I'll see you tomorrow.